Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of JC Lee MD Minute. I'm your host, Jonathan Jaha Lee, a quadruple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist, and also now newly DBT certified. Well, today I want to introduce you all to a DBT skill, obviously codified by Dr. Marsha Linehan herself in the original DBT skills training manual, that is called self-soothing with the 6 senses. Now, with DBT, there are 6, not 5, of our physical senses, including our sense of sight, taste, touch, hearing, what am I missing? Smell, as well as movement, or our bodily kinesthetic or proprioceptive sense. And so the idea of self-soothing is, in my opinion, really multifaceted. Often when we become really anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, it's very much an internal kind of anguish, a mental and soulful kind of anguish. And in these states, it's often easy for us to make decisions that we sometimes down the road regret. And so one way to come back to the present moment, to give ourselves the best chance of coping effectively, is to come back to our bodies. And we can do that with our 6 senses, and do so by deliberately choosing the sensory inputs that we're going to sort of experience in the moment. And so you can think of these 6 senses and think to yourself, like, what in terms of my sense of sight could I look at right now and soothe my senses? A lot of the people that I see will carry pictures of their children, pictures of vacations they've been on, pictures of their pets, their dog. A lot of times this can simply be going outside for a moment and letting the sun hit your eyes, or observing with your eyes how sort of the light looks dappled between the leaves of trees, or the fractal patterns of branches in the trees. And simply choosing a neutral or somewhat pleasant visual stimulus can be a great soothing kind of aspect. We can also employ our sense of hearing. Obviously, in the age of MP3s and Spotify, music is a huge way we can curate our own self-soothing playlists. I like Beyonce, India Arie. For you, it might be Chopin or Debussy, which also helps me in my time. But listening for those sounds and paying attention hourly to patterns of sound and music that are soothing. This could also be going out and really paying attention for the sounds of the birds that are, just happily chirping in the oak tree in your yard. Our sense of smell is a really powerful one. It's the most primitive sense, associated with our older reptilian brain. And it can be a powerful conduit for memory. A lot of times, all we need is a whiff of peonies and we can remember our grandmothers, our garden, and such. And so in this kind of realm, I think having a scented candle, having a particular lotion that you can put on your hand, that's also the bodily kinesthetic or touch kind of feeling, but a sense of soothing smell, holding a lemon up to your nose, or a tangerine or mandarin orange, that sense of citrus can be very enveloping and soothing in the moment. And what about our sense of taste? I am an equal opportunity eater. I love eating all food, but and I have no shares in Paris baguette or anything. They're not paying me to say it, but there's a Paris baguette next to my workplace. The almond croissant gets me every time. That almond filling piped in is like a symphony in my mouth. And similarly, when you're there, your senses of sight and smell will also be enlivened, I'm sure, no doubt, as you look at the gleaming row upon row of cakes. But our sense of taste obviously can be can be employed in many other simpler ways. Trader Joe's has some really great green tea mints that my son and I love to nosh on, and I carry in my backpack for extra difficult, painful patient sessions. Wilhelmina mints are another great moiety, but something that can catch your sense of taste in the moment is a great thought as well. Our sense of touch is one that often we don't think about, in the moment, but many of us will have a favorite throw or pillow, maybe a squishmallow that we can hold in the moment. Sometimes holding our pet, petting them, letting them lick our face is a great way to enact that self-soothing through the sense of touch. Sometimes simply giving, Christian Neff in her treatise on self-compassion talks about giving ourselves a hug, that sensory input of that kind of feeling. Our body doesn't really know the difference, that sense of connection and safety. We can evoke that for ourselves as we sit and just give ourselves a hug. Hey, I'm here for you, And finally, our bodily kinesthetic sense. This, I think is most exemplified by putting on some great Gaga or Beyonce and dancing, or, Mario, Tiesto or whatever. Kind of getting in the groove. But this can also simply be, exercising and really feeling every lift, every movement on the elliptical, every stroke in the pool, re-engaging with our body, reminding ourselves that as bad as it can get, we're still able to control ourselves, and we still inhabit this body, and whatever way we can use it, I damn well will. And so, coming back to that idea, and this can be really simply enacted over the lunch hour, or in between tests or evals by taking a walk. As you walk, you can observe with your eyes the people around you, the dogs, the cars, the birds, the sunlight. You can listen with your ears as well, non-judgmentally, and really pay attention to those sounds that are a bit more soothing, the sound of water, the rustling of leaves with the wind. And of course, your sense of touch as the wind moves past you, the feeling of the ground beneath your feet, your sense of that bodily kinesthetic movement of like, I am a bipedal, human who was made to walk. And so these are just a few, really brief examples of ways that I've used self-soothing with the six senses, and ways that I talk about it with my patients. What about you? Leave a comment or two on your favorite ways to practice self-soothing with the six senses below. And until next time, love yourself.